Welcome back, noble heroes. We return, absent Sarah for the time being. I'm afraid that she's a little bit ill with some nausea. We go ahead and return back to our story. The characters are on the Outrunner, having gotten over an event with, looks like a rabbit. The dragon, Ferric, has flown away with his drakes, and the Kenku riders, the Blackwing. And as Hero lands his own drake after a harrowing ride that lasted longer than he wanted it to before he got the hang of it, he's going to put down the drake, and it appears as though a calm has finally settled down on the ship. What is the party up to?
Euphemia would probably want to know what was going on with the weird eye thing from Isaac. She'd probably approach to ask, since she has no idea about what the plan was.
Okay. You'll find Isaac below deck, and he's kind of consolidating all of his belongings into a large chest now that he's kind of been moved out of his usual space. When you come up to him, he has like this leather envelope that he unrolls that has slots for different tools, and as he touches each tool, it kind of like waddles its way over and puts itself in the right place.
That's so cool.
I love it.
So that's what he's doing when you find him.
Euphemia probably watches the show for a moment and then asks, "So where's the weird eye thing you have?"
Oh, you saw that. I was trying to keep it hidden.
Out of game. Last session, didn't Euphemia, see the eye in detail and see that it was clearly alive because it had a couple of different...
You did, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she saw it up close.
Yeah. Where are you keeping it? I don't really want it any place too close to people.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but that thing seems to be a threat to June, so...
Euphemia waits a beat and says... Wait, what?
I know. Shocking.
Euphemia's face is entirely nonplussed. Just like...
Against my better judgment, I gave it to Zarafan, who offered to take it and have someone bring it back to Bridgewalk for us, for safekeeping.
So it's not on our ship anymore.
It's long gone. Out of our hair.
Well, that's actually quite a relief. I was going to ask you to get rid of it, if at all possible.
I was about an inch away from simply throwing it overboard, but things like that have a habit of falling into the wrong hands.
Yuffie looks at his hands and looks at him. Indeed.
He chuckles, but in a way that says he's clearly not amused, and then he turns back around and keeps working on his organization. Is there anything else you needed?
She waits a beat. No. Just... You've been doing a good job, too.
He waits for a moment and then says, "Huh. Thank you, Captain."
She looks like she nods to herself like she did her job well, and then she just leaves.
Roland will pass you on the way down the stairs. And when he comes around the corner and sees Isaac dealing with his things, Roland says, "Did you get rid of that weird thing yet?"
Wait, so Roland asked me that?
Yes.
To Roland, he's going to say, "Yeah, I threw it off the side of the ship.
Good.
It's gone."
And just walks to his bunk.
Euphemia, as you leave the conversation with Isaac, you are going to hear noises down farther on the deck they are currently cleaning. Isbig and Triss are down there. And Triss is both fixing a couple of needed repairs down in that direction, but also trying to show Isbig and make sure he does it correctly. But she's going to kind of march back up, smelling foul. And she's going to sort of look at you and says, I think he's got it, Captain.
Do you need a break for a moment, Triss?
Just a bath, she says.
Euphemia's gonna give her like a little pat on the side.
She says, I guess I'll be a little bit, Captain. Before I'm up, I'm going to open up one of the water barrels, she says.
It's probably a good idea. Is it clear how she got so stinky?
Yeah, she was down on the poop deck for a long time.
Okay.
All right. And Roland.
Yes.
Bali is going to approach you. Hey, so we're a little short-handed at the moment with Triss apparently needing some time for herself. How about putting some of those lessons on ship working into effect?
What do you need me to do?
Well, with Cleby up on the crow's nest, I need someone to pull the lines.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right.
Give me a second. And he was about to write that letter, but now he's like, yeah, you know what, that can wait.
Nice. Perfect.
Why?
That's exactly.
Waited this long.
Why?
So what's another day?
That exactly. Yeah. All right. So.
Western dodged a bullet, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So with
Do I
you
need to
all
roll something?
below deck, Bali, Western sort of is like kind of just like moving the wheel up and down, maintaining a vaguely straight pattern at the moment. But as you go to head up, your ears suddenly catch and you feel in the floor and the walls of the hold. You can't imagine that Furik's voice could possibly get here. But it's too big to be a person. You hear in your very being, vibrating through the entire ship, a song. In the sea there comes me. In the sea there comes me. You think you rule what has always been mine. I have to give you a piece of my mind. You dare to tread where you cannot live. Thinking my treasure I'm just going to give. Something enormous rams the Outrunner.
Yuffie pulls out the... I forgot what the...
Triss's magic spyglass.
Thank you. To look down. Can't she look through the ship to see through it?
You can look through water. You can't look through the wood of the ship.
All right, so she'll run to the side of the ship and...
You are... I need you to roll an acrobatics check as the entire deck basically like shoves over about 10 feet.
Both of us?
Yes. Isaac, you too.
12.
18.
6.
I knew it. The way you smiled, I was like, this is going to be good.
All right. Isaac, you are going to hit very hard on the railing as you are basically thrown off your feet. And you hit the side of the railing and it sort of knocks into you. And then you roll up on top of it and are like very close to rolling overboard. When you're going to see Zarafen is going to sort of grab you by the leg and push your leg back down, throwing you upright again. Roland, you basically fall over entirely, are knocked off your feet. Yuffie, you're much closer center of gravity to the ground. You are able to stay upright and rush up the stairs quickly. You are going to come up, and you will see Klebe, like, hanging by the end of his claws on his nest, as the mast is sort of thrown way off of upright, almost not quite horizontal, but it definitely like cast over at a much lower degree angle than it should be at. And you watch as he, well, you are maybe distracted as he holds on for dear life.
She would be very distracted.
You look up as okay, he will climb back up into the nest, but your eyes are drawn towards a spray of water that erupts from the nearby ocean. A whale.
Have they, as pirates, ever encountered a whale that did anything like this?
You mean a talking whale?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
You are going to see a royal of gray and then a tail spike up out of the water and then slap as the whale dives. What do you do?
From what she knows of sea creatures, does it seem like it's diving to come back up? Like a deep dive to come back up? Or just
you
getting
couldn't
the heck out of
tell
okay.
from just it diving. But you could watch it with the spyglass.
She would want to know where the heck it's going.
Roland, as you come up the stairwell, along with almost naked Triss, who is cursing, and you do not want to know what Is Big is up to down on the lowest deck. As you come up, you see Isaac sort of getting on his balance as best as he can. Isaac, you see Roland. Roland, you see Isaac. And both of you see Euphemia throw the spyglass that she possesses out to its maximum length and stare down. Euphemia, as you look through the eyeglass, you see in rainbow silhouette, along with a scattering school of large tuna. The outline is clear. What species of whale? A tuna whale, in fact. But there is something odd about it. So you can't see this as a rainbow-filled silhouette, but looking down to the water, as the whale dives, you see that the whale's mouth is slightly open. And as it dives back down, roll a perception check, please, with disadvantage.
I need another d20. I mean, I got a 5 and a 6, so.
Gotcha.
What was it? Perception? Okay, hold on. That's 8, so 13.
Okay. You will watch as the whale... So you can't tell what it's doing, but you can see it do it. Its mouth, this side of its mouth, is going to hold closed. And this side of its mouth is going to say words. Like it is singing out of one side of its mouth.
Yuffie's going to put the spyglass back together. I don't know what in the pit it's doing. Let's get out of here.
Western goes, she's going to like stand up wobbly and goes, I'm so sorry. I didn't know there was a rock around here.
Yuffie's going to point at her and say, not your fault this time. Isaac, can you take control of the ship?
Aye, aye.
What is it?
A giant singing whale.
Hero,
It just looks so defeated. This day sucks.
Hero seems to be gathering. He's going to sort of grab on the shoulders of, looks like a rabbit. And he seems to be like whispering to her intently. And then the two of them are sort of going to like close their eyes and like lean their heads on one another together. And he's going to say out of his mouth, he's angry, he says.
You can sense him.
He goes, we both can. He wants us to leave, he says.
We'd be happy to leave.
Yeah, leave where? The ocean?
He goes, he thinks we're in his house.
I know sometimes you can transmit feelings back. Is there any way to let him know we mean no harm and are leaving?
Looks like a rabbit is going to turn to you and very openly say, oh, Hero doesn't do that because of his brother. Hero's gonna like, ugh, and then like look at you and say, I'm not very good at that. He lies.
Euphemia blinks a minute, but lets him keep his secret.
Zarafan and June are sort of talking quietly as they tend to. And Zarafan is going to turn and seems to speak for the pair when he says, we're a little off course of the way we came. A little south, he says. Maybe we ventured somewhere we weren't.
How much to readjust?
You are going to give me an advantaged wisdom check, please. Roland, you're going to see a spray of water far out into the ocean, which is going to seems like the whale is circling. You are noticing that it seems to be on a specific side of the ship.
9.
9. Okay. You need to get out a map and realign. Bali is going to like look over towards you and then like point to the cabin.
Yep. She makes her way there and they start getting their supplies.
But she's going to yell out, Isaac, take us north.
Okay.
Then she's
Isaac
going to
goes
like exasperatedly point and say, that way.
Okay.
She says, Roland. She's going to like look at you and say, can you please actively steer?
Yeah. He's gonna run up to the whale.
All right. You are going to see on the horizon, the whale is going to begin cutting the water as it curves towards the ship, seeming to prepare for another ram.
As Yuffie is bringing the map back, she's yelling, Oi, we're leaving! As she's pulling the map out and they're recalculating.
As you all rush in and you're like ticking the little like metal
Compass.
pieces on the trying to recalculate, you gain an advantage roll this time with Bali's aid. Roland, you are going to see the head of this whale. You, Isaac, Juniper, and everybody on the ship will see a whale with a smoking pipe, a giant smoking pipe coming out of one side of his mouth, puffing like a chimney. As the whale leaves the water, you will hear a great big bellow of words. In the sea, here comes me.
Advantage wisdom, you said?
Yes.
13.
Okay. It is going to take just slightly longer than the whale's attack. Roland, aided by Isaac, please roll a sleight of hand check.
Is that with advantage or just a bonus?
So aid gives you advantage.
Come on. Come on.
8. So, very bad.
We're getting our butts kicked.
Oh, yes. Hey.
The ship takes 100 points of damage.
Damn.
100 points of damage?
What's the
Yes.
ship at?
Hold on.
That's
a third of its... Wow. Because it's been repaired up pretty well. So
It was at full
It was at
hit
full,
points,
yeah.
except for the Dragon's Blast, which did about 58 points to it. So
Okay.
taking about 150 points of damage.
So it's got about 150 left.
As the ship is pushed, you are going to see so there are ridges on the top of the whale. Its body is shaped like a mix between like a sperm whale and a tuna. So it's got like a big, instead of like a whale tail that goes out, it's got a tuna tail that goes up. So it sort of looks like a shark. And it also has like a big toothy maw. But its head is sort of like lightly arrow shaped.
Oh, okay.
And it is sort of a bluish gray color. And as it rams its head into the thing, Isaac, you are hit against the side of the railing, and like you like hover there just over the part where the whale has struck. So the ship is sort of like roiling to tilt you over, but as you like look panickedly down at the water, you are going to see that in addition to the giant smoking pipe that the whale has lit under the water, you are going to see, almost like Providence, a treasure map between its teeth.
Oh, man. All right. It's not what I was expecting.
As you look down at that, you haven't felt like the grip of fate a lot in your life, but you feel the grip of fate. Something fated is happening here. As the whale rams the ship, you're going to see Juniper sort of like holds up her fingers and like snaps. And as it does, the ship is going to sort of like separate to give you like some free access to move away from the whale. And the whale, like a person who is shoving on a door when the door gives way, is going to like roil downwards into the water. And like you feel it bump the bottom of the ship. And it actually probably seems to hurt it with the barnacles growing up on the bottom of the ship. Because it does like, you hear kind of a noise echo through the wood. And you're going to see Klebe angrily throw like a piece of wood down towards the whale as it dives away. And then Bali, you and Euphemia and Bali are going to come out of the deck and sort of point. You realize you're about 1.5 miles off course, thanks to Western's sort of like vague sailing. And you also realize you are adjacent to an unmarked island. Because your map doesn't have an island on it, but you see the island nonetheless.
Is this a fairly well mapped out section?
Yes, you are not far away from Bridgewalk. But fishermen from the area, please give me a piratey history check with advantage. Give her this.
I was gonna say, you keep asking me to roll too.
a history check with
Yeah.
advantage?
I like this one.
Gosh, I'm just, 11.
Okay.
That's so sad.
The fishermen in this area do tell a lot of tales. And you vaguely have like a recollection of something about a whale, but you can't remember. However, you do know a tale about a tuna whale. Mm-hmm. Okay, just didn't know if you...
Dom.
Correct. I didn't know if you remembered or not.
Mm-hmm. But he's not here.
Isaac. Zarfan is going to call out, "Maybe prepare the oaken bolter this time," he says.
Isaac's gonna shout back, "Do you think that thing's gonna put a dent in that creature? Do you see how big it is?"
He says, "If it comes up, aim for the eye."
All right, if you insist. And Isaac's gonna go get it ready.
Well, can you still control the ship while doing that, or no?
Yes,
Okay,
he can.
I couldn't remember.
So just to settle this, basically the ship is not a very high-level construct. It just has a ton of hit points.
Okay.
So Isaac can control the ship and even other constructs fairly... Actually, you can't control the oaken bolter and the ship at the same time. Nope, you leveled up. You can do that, actually. So because you leveled up, you can do that. Because it's a 2 and a 5. So... Yeah, you can control up to CR7 at once. As everybody prepares, Roland, you are now steering in the direction that they have said. It's not hard. You just kind of you throw the wheel to the side. You feel like you're in an actiony pirate story at the
I got
moment.
this pirate thing down.
As
Make a great pirate.
the sails sort of shift like a lady's blinking eyelash, as they all kind of like at once with Isaac's power possessing the ship. And as the whale looks like it is set to charge once more, almost like you pass some kind of invisible barrier, the whale is just going to like veer off about 200 yards away from the ship and head away.
Euphemia will wait a beat. So it's guarding something.
Captain, I want to let you know that when it got close to the ship, I saw a treasure map stuck in its teeth. Whatever it's guarding, it's probably related to that. It's probably very valuable.
You may re-roll your history check.
With advantage? Thank you. Oh, thank God. Okay.
DC 16.
18.
You do remember something about Whale Island, also called Whale Tail Island, for the idea that it is fake. Apparently an island where... So there are lots of pirate stories about islands that have like one type of creature on them, like Rat Island and Turtle Island. And Whale Island is another one of those stories where every creature is a whale something. And apparently like there's like monstrous dinosaur whales like running around on the island or something. And it was said that it was used by Jordor Blackhand at some point to like bury some treasure on. Fishermen say that it swims, and that the island changes position, but that it is a slow moving island by the reckoning.
You'd see dawning realization on Euphemia's face as she looks out. I think that's Whale Tail Island.
You're going to see not like Zarfen has an expression that both reads like, oh, charming, and also like, I don't believe that at all. But also kind of like vaguely half remembering something about it. You see that Juniper looks much the same. And Western goes, what now? Huh?
It's supposed to be just a sailor story, but it's an island populated entirely by whale-type creatures with supposedly some kind of treasure buried on it.
Okay. You seem to oh wait, Bali can roll. Oh no, she aided you. So Bali seems to like think about it or something. But she can't remember any more details than you can. Zarafen is I'm going to make sure that whale is gone. He says he's going to take wing.
She says, can you scout out the island a bit? And then she gestures at the map, kind of like, I need its general measures.
He's going to fly sort of in a circle and then come back down, and then... Sure, as a point of study. I don't see why not. He's going to take off into the air, and about 5 minutes later, with everybody sort of a little on edge, but like it's like calming down now, Roland, no one has come to take the wheel from you, so you're just kind of like steering the ship at this point.
You got this.
It's not that hard once you get the hang of it, I guess.
In the middle of open sea.
Feel definitely like I'm doing it wrong the whole time, but
Isaac, what are you up to now that you've brought the oaken bolter to bear?
Brings it out just as the whale leaves.
He's like very carefully tweaking little gears and bits of it here and there, and he's adjusting the angle just right. And his idea is that he's going to use the harpoon attachment to latch onto the map and yoink it out of his teeth and pull it to us. And so he's getting ready to try and do that.
The whale has not returned and has not even made himself appear again. Juniper suggests that Zarafen may be as much as a half hour. Once he gets started on a project, he tends to finish it.
Euphemia will have already made like a very vague outline on the map, and you'll see she does have some skill with creating maps.
Hero is going to come over. Triss has fully clothed and is looking down, like shaking her head at the damage, but she doesn't seem as stressed about it as prior times. She's going to come over as soon as the event is over and sort of check on everybody to see if they're okay. She's going to... Captain, are you good?
For now, the ship just keeps taking damage.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. She says, I think this is going to be repairable, she says.
What all do you think we need?
I'll ask Isaac about it.
Euphemia's eyebrows both raise. Well, with the two of your might combined, it probably will be done pretty quickly.
Right.
Can she insight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Advantage or no?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yay. Actually,
Did you get a roll today?
yeah.
Yeah.
25. Crit.
You see a level of acceptance that you would have thought impossible for Triss.
Genuine acceptance that...
Genuine acceptance.
Okay.
Your guess is that she has maybe somehow compartmentalized the idea that the crew members are acting as a sort of versatile toolbox.
Support.
Yes. Shadow is going to come up towards you, and she is going to try to speak or try to communicate with you again, like she previously did. Go ahead and give me a insight check.
$19. Holy shit.
Nice.
You think she's surprised that you didn't attack the whale or leap into the water heroically to stab it with your lance.
I was thinking about it. If I was told to do that, I would have done that.
You think she is additionally chiding you for doing that in the past, and you are gaining the sense that she is trying to say that she's not always going to be there to save you.
He'll laugh and agree that he's surprised he didn't do it. He didn't do that also.
She's going to like tap on your helmet, and then she's going to say something akin to that. She realizes that that's sort of your MO, but she cares.
He'll give her a pat if she's close enough for him to touch her.
She will lean in to your touch.
He'll pull her in closer, I guess, then.
She is going to sort of seems to accept the hug for a second before she like rustles. It looks like she is sort of amped up at the moment.
Well, then
she goes to jump into the water.
He'll go from that to sort of the riling her up real quick, rubbing her on the head and neck.
You're going to see Shadow like points down off the edge of the deck down into the water, sort of suggesting like, "Hey, I'm gonna go look for the whale." And as she dives and then comes back up before Zarafen returns, she's going to like shake her head. All right, Zarafen will return, and he is going to present 2 pictures that he has drawn. One appears to be a detailed, like sky downward, cartography style map of positioning. And then the other one is going to be this glorious hand-drawn picture of this mountain of an island that rises up like a spike out of the ocean, with like this beard of forest around the base rising up into foothills, and then this grand statuesque mountain that rises up that somehow resembles a whale.
Euphemia will pause. Tell me, did the island appear to be moving at all?
He says, if it was, I couldn't tell.
It must be very, very small movements. Then.
He says, however, I have never seen whale insects, and I never want to again.
I've never seen it. I don't want to
Euphemia
again.
takes the drawings. It seems like you went through quite a bit of trouble for these.
He's going to look over at Roland and say, like, whale, dragonfly.
I'm good.
He goes, skimming the air for flocks of birds.
Oh.
He describes this like outrunner-sized creature with like 8 or 9 like buzzing wings that was like coursing around the top of the mountains, just like nabbing baby birds that were the size of Euphemia from their nests and just eating them.
Terrifying.
Well, that's good information to have.
He says, but I am going to keep this one for a moment so we can record some notes. He takes the cartography map real quick.
She loves it.
Okay. You look down at the beautiful hand-drawn island. It looks like something from the books. It has this otherworldly sort of fate-carved feel to it. Like something couldn't possibly exist that was this ridiculous.
And it looks a little like a whale?
The mountain rises up and then like has like two little like fins, and then like it has like a head like a whale if it's the very top of the mountain. Like it sort of curves into this whale face.
Euphemia will show it to Bali. So, what do you think?
All of you are adjacent to Euphemia at this point. Isaac, Roland. And Hero is coming over as Zarafan sort of heads over, and him and Juniper record some notes. Even looks like a rabbit is going to come over. I like drawings, she says. As you all look down at Bali says, looks ridiculous.
It looks like something that couldn't have been created.
Hey, is this like that turtle island you talked to me about? The one that was a turtle?
Oh, wait, I remember this now. Sorry, out of game. Okay. It seems kind of similar.
She says, you think it's a fate thing?
It probably is.
Hey, is this a fate thing? She says, kind of hitting Roland on his armor.
Oh, no.
What? Don't you deal with fate things all the time?
It's weird, so yeah, probably.
She goes, oh, is that the only requirement?
It does often fit.
She looks around.
Does it look around at everybody present?
She literally has that exact thought, like, I guess we're a fate thing, because we're weird. Westerin is going to sort of like look over the drawing. Oh, he has a fine hand. He must have good handwriting.
Are you much of a treasure hunter?
Why was that what you cared about? Bali says. She goes, no, I never actively sought treasure. Usually I just take it off of corpses.
I can respect that.
You almost feel like she was about to say something about maybe pirates, but she refrains.
Euphemia just raises an eyebrow, waiting a beat.
What? Nothing, she says.
Well,
any thoughts, Isaac?
Well, I was interested.
Euphemia
but,
looks between the two of them. Is it clear they knew each other before?
No.
I was interested, but now I'm suddenly much less inclined after hearing about those whale bugs.
Whale bugs? I missed something, she says.
Euphemia describes what the whale bugs were like, apparently.
Oh, heavens, no. No, let's not do that, she says.
It could be a challenge.
However, I am intrigued by that map I saw that whale carrying.
You would be.
I am too.
You would be.
She says, what sort of map?
You said it was a treasure map, Isaac?
Daniel, was there a reason I thought it was a treasure map?
Yeah, it was like when they draw cartoons and like they draw a treasure map with like the little red line that
like
leads
that.
to like an X. It looked like that.
Yeah, okay. So I tell you guys what it looked like, and then I say, what do you think, Roland? Do you think Shadow could go snatch it out of his teeth?
I don't know. You want to volunteer my dragon to go steal from a whale?
No. Not particularly when you put it that way.
Westerin is going to say, can Shadow dive that deep?
I mean, Shadow can go to the Shadow Realm, which is everywhere.
Hero is going to like look at the drawing and then say, looks like a storybook cover.
I mean, considering that it's supposed to be just a tale, it kind of is. Even I've never seen anything like it, and I've been on these seas for a long time.
Bali is going to sort of look over. She sees this like exasperated expression on Roland's face. You okay?
was just hoping to go home. Now we're going to this island.
She says, we're not going to the island. We have no way to get past the whale.
What did you look at me for?
Do you have inspiration?
No, I've already got it.
Okay, got it.
Isaac wanted it too. Why are you looking at me?
It's just sunk in. He knows that there's no way they're not going there, even if it's just for the curiosity of Juniper.
We need repairs, Bali says, attempting a definitive answer.
The ship is too damaged, frankly, to attempt to re-enter those waters.
Okay.
Much as I would love to get my hands on that treasure map.
Plus, it might be something we want to ask Dom about.
Yuffie nods. I'd probably be a bit excited, honestly.
Anyway, can you ask Shadow to keep a lookout in the water for it? Just to make sure it doesn't come back?
She's, I think, planning on doing that anyway, but yeah. He'll walk over and have a little talk with her.
All right.
All right. Let's get out of here.
You all steer back in the direction of Bridgewalk.
I know what's on that map.
Over the course of the next day, before you arrive again, although yours is less fraught with emotion than Roland and Hero's was, Hero is additionally going to come to you, and in the same manner that he did with Roland, apologize for how he acted, how he treated you.
Yuffie's gonna look at him and just... For what? It's like she completely doesn't even remember him being like that. She's just not sensitive enough to...
Hero's going to kind of like, and he goes, you really don't remember?
It can't have been that big of a deal.
Guess it was only, thought it was a big deal, he says.
Yuffie leans forward and clasps his arm. I feel like I've gotten to know you fairly well so far on the journey. From what I know of who you are, that's what I take into account. Not just bad days.
He smiles warmly. You all see the gateway, the cliffside of Bridgewalk, as Bali takes the wheel, or does Euphemia take the wheel?
Euphemia would probably give Bali a break from it if she's been on it.
You all steer and weave between the grand rock columns that form up into the islands that the bridges stretch over Bridgewalk from. You see that the city seems more lively than when you first pulled into it. And you will also see that Firik is coursing down towards Grandok. You will see... Actually, he'll come by the ship first. He says, there is a port made for you in Grandok. Your fee has been paid, he says.
Yuffie nods to him. Thank you.
He says, your crew is fine and safe, and most of them are in the fortress at the moment. The only one who isn't is that dwarf Dom, he says. He's out on a sailboat. He says he'll be back in by nightfall. They didn't know when you would arrive.
I wonder what Dom's gotten up to.
All right. You all pull in, and as you get off the port, off the dock, you smell the powerful, salty wind come in off the ocean. The meek are going to sort of unsteadily get off the ship, with the Isbig sort of just reeking terribly.
Let's get a bath.
he comes off and makes a swath through the crowd as he decides to head home and take a bath. You know now that Looks Like a Rabbit and Is Big did not know each other before this event, but seem to have become friends in the meantime. Additionally, Hero seems to be some manner of, maybe not close friend, but certainly the sort of friend you make from a traumatic experience. And do each one of you return back to the adamantine fortress called by Queen Estrid?
Yeah, Roland would.
After speaking with Triss about what was needed for repairs, yes, Yuffie would as well.
All right. Your ship is taken by Bali, who will be a little late, and it is going to go up into dry dock for a full set of repairs. Fortunately, paid for by, is done pro bono on behalf of the city itself.
Yuffie looks down at it. I could get used to this, she says under her breath.
And Isaac, what about you?
He'll also go to the fortress.
Okay. Do you take any of your constructs, Isaac?
Aelor will be walking with him, but that's it.
Okay. Oh, Master! Master, you've returned! Prongor says as he approaches.
I know, right?
He's
Where
back.
is this? In the fortress?
No, this is at the dock. Prongor is carrying a lot of stuff that you probably didn't need. But he
We'll
approaches.
turn and just look like, yep.
Oh, man.
Here
He
you go.
goes,
Our fucking guy.
I brought all of your things, Master, just to make sure that you had them as soon as possible.
Oh, Rongor, how sweet it is to hear your voice again. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it back.
He goes, you should hear my operatic singing, Master.
Operatic
Yes.
singing, is that a new talent of yours? Have you been practicing?
He goes, oh no, Master, a very old talent. You don't know this, but when I was a teenager, I used to compete in contests.
I did not know. You're right.
He goes, well, we don't speak about the old times that much. A lot of sadness for me there. He goes, but anyway, I have news to tell you, Master.
What might that be?
He's going to separate you, like come over here. I've got it.
Okay.
He goes, Master, as you know, I tried to keep up with the local news from the important places now that we've started our worldwide journey. And I'm trying to keep tabs on any news pertaining to us. Well, it would appear as though, Master, not news about us, but news about Roland, he says.
About Roland.
He's going
What could
to
you have
pull
possibly
out
heard?
a news clipping from what you recognize as basically the Garen Gazette. And he will hand it to you, and it says, a romantic candlelight dinner? And it shows a picture of Westerin and Roland. And it has her, and it's like you see the end of the article, and she ate the cherry off of their single dessert together with one fork.
Okay. Is this from like a gossip column?
Yes.
Okay. Just
Of
out of
course he reads the
curiosity,
gossip
Isaac wants to look at the. There's a picture in this article, right?
It is a picture of a very skimpily dressed Western with a lot of cleavage showing, who has like this sensual sort of like flick of the fork out of her mouth as she has eaten the cherry off of a cake. And Roland is like picked up his fork and is like getting ready to like dig in. And he sort of has his eyes lowered and you can tell they're on the cake. But if you weren't like paying attention, you would think they was on her cleavage.
Okay, Isaac is like, he's keeping a straight face as he's looking at this, and he looks very concerned. And he says, Prongor, what do you make of all this? He says, like, tapping the article in his hand.
I think that Roland is a playboy, master. He says, perhaps he is stealing your style.
Okay, hold on, I need a second.
Me too, bud.
Stealing my style.
Well, it's been many
He wouldn't
years,
dare.
master.
It has been.
But
But I can safely say that Western is not. Western is not someone I'm particularly concerned about.
no, master.
Do you have any other news? Or was this it so far?
Well, I have detailed reports on everybody that we travel with.
Oh, do tell.
All right. As you begin to head back in the direction, so Isaac and Prongor are sort of like dragging behind, chatting vigorously with one another as a coach meets all of you to take you back to the Adamantine Fortress. So the coach is too small to fit all of you. So Isaac and Prongor, and then like June and Zarafin take their individual coach. So Bali, Euphemia, Hero, and Roland are in the front coach together. And the three of you are carting away. And he says, so do you think they already did the celebration? Hero says.
I'd say probably.
He goes, so what's our next move?
That's the question, she says. There's several different moves we could make. We'll need to discuss strategy.
The contest in Garen soon.
Contest? You want to go back for a contest?
We were all thinking about doing that. Yeah.
Um,
Bunch of heroes are going to be there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I did a full memory dump. Sorry.
No,
might be
that's
Hero
okay.
is going to
You're up
say,
to speed now.
There we go.
I don't know how the Garen tournament would happen without you, Roland.
Yeah,
Yes.
if I'm not there, then people are going to start really wondering what's going on.
As you look out the window, Euphemia, you're going to notice there seems to be a lot of attention given to your carts. Maybe undue attention, in fact.
From everyone or from certain people?
From everyone.
Why do you think so many people are paying attention to us here?
Hero's going to like look out. He goes, he seems to like, you kind of gain this vague, distant glance from him outside of the window. Like he's paying attention to something else.
Mhm.
You think he's using his empathy,
Mhm.
or his empathic abilities. And then he's going to sort of start and go, they know about fate, he says.
What? She leans forward.
They know about fate, he says again.
And they know.
He looks, hey, Roland, ask the driver.
Hey, man, you know why everybody's acting weird?
As you sort of open up this slot so your voice can make it to him, you're going to get this like telling pause from the driver. A dwarf woman who is going to, well, beyond just you being well-known heroes, she says, I believe it might be the Queen's announcement.
What'd the queen announce?
She says she had a speech 2 days ago about fate breaking.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's wild. Shuts the thing. Well, there we go. Sorry everybody's acting weird.
Euphemia's eyes are very wide.
Oh, good. I'm glad we have an explanation.
Uh-huh.
Hero says.
But were they told about our part?
Who knows? But regardless, I don't think June's going to be very happy about this.
You know, the Winter Child does act in the best interest of her people. There must have been a reason for her to announce it.
I mean,
She is...
I like to hope
good
people
queen.
can handle information like this too, but that's
It's
what I
figured
like to
out.
hope.
I'm gaining some sort of weathering undertones to the emotions of the city.
What do you mean?
They're hunkering down, getting ready for like a storm. That's the sort of feeling I'm getting. I think maybe she was worried about the city relaxing too quickly. That's just a guess. Hero says. I'm just going off what I feel. And they
Yeah.
definitely know that we're involved.
Well, your guesses tend to be good. I guess we can always ask the Queen herself.
Maybe that's why she called us back and gave us coaches and everything.
Keep us from wandering through the city with people.
Well, maybe just tell us as fast as possible. You all arrive in front of the gates. And as you get out, you will see all the others sort of coming up the road, but you're already here. So do you want to head in now and sort of wait for them in there, or do you want to wait for them outside?
Roland would wait for him outside.
Okay. All right.
All right.
You guys wait just outside the massive door of the adamantine fortress, built on a cliffside centuries and centuries and centuries ago by fate, apparently. Isaac, you and Prongor get out. Isaac, you have the deets on what the crew did. You hear that Jania sort of wandered around the city a lot and seemed to talk a lot about this dwarf merchant, some kind of faded memory person.
Oh, no.
And then Dom went like sailing a lot, mostly shirtless.
Incredible detail.
And
Hunger notices everything.
that was most of what he saw. And he did not find the duck again, Master. I couldn't find the duck. I really did try, he says.
It's probably for the best, Prongor.
Okay. He goes, but beyond that, no news about us. So, excellent.
So,
Excellent indeed.
sorry, is he not aware of the proclamation from the Queen, Prongor?
Almost as an afterthought, he goes, the Queen made a small announcement 2 days ago. Fate is broken, and that you all are the fated questers to deal with the problem.
Oh, she did say that.
Isaac sits in silence for
Way to bury the lead, bud.
a couple of seconds, and then he just rotates his head and looks at Prongor and says, "What is she thinking?"
He goes, it was rather boring, Master. Something about coming together as a people and dealing with the problem at hand and not burying your head in the sand. Something about that.
How did the crowd react?
Stoically, Master.
I see. That's surprising.
Well, these Bridgewalk folks seem very tough, used to tragedies and such.
Did this behavior from Jania and Dom start after that announcement or before?
I'm not sure Dom heard the speech, but I believe Jania did, he says. But none of the crew was mentioned.
I see. Just us.
She said that the heroes who fought Pitt were involved. I believe that was exactly that. And then specified, I believe her advisors were asked by many people who exactly was involved. And I know that our names did come up there, Master.
My name came up. Isaac Crowing.
Yes, Master.
Oh, this should be interesting. I'm eager to speak with her now.
He says, yes, I believe that, I probably should have led with that, shouldn't I, Master?
I love that he led with the gossip column.
Admit
Well,
it.
Prongor,
He
better
is an
late than
avid
never.
reader.
As long as you told me.
He says, well, it's not like you were going to use it on the cart ride over here.
True, I was not. And that gossip was entertaining.
He goes, I thought so too, Master.
Please let that fall into one of our hands. Please.
Isaac may do something with it.
All right. So, Western took her own coach. She said that she didn't want to be cramped in a coach with as many as 3 people in it. So she just paid some gold and got her own. Or some silver, I should say. So she will get out as well as Juniper and Zarafan. And since you're waiting, all of you sort of huddle. And Juniper and Zarafan look like they have heard the news. As they approach, do you say anything?
Cool. So everybody's on the level. Just wanted to wait and all of us walk in to this shit show together.
Exactly how much has everyone been told? She asks the group at large.
From the varied mouths around you, you will basically learn what Isaac was told by Prongor. The Queen gave a speech, was a big speech to a big crowd about Bridgewalk's need for resilience in the coming times, that it would be very difficult. And then you will learn from Zarafan and Juniper that apparently that speech triggered many speeches in many nations, and including Garen Roland. Basically, once Bridgewalk acted openly, the news was going to travel immediately by messenger to everybody, so all of the kings must have coordinated some kind of effort, lest one of them be left out and look like they were trying to hide information stupidly from their populace.
Except, of course.
They all were hiding information from their populace.
Till probably the maximum capable time to keep it hidden realistically.
Yep.
They always knew it was going to be let out some point.
Oh, yeah. But
Except Aragoth, which we don't know what's been told there.
Well, Aragoth, the reason Aragoth has the capability to survive is because it does allow messengers in. So, I mean, even just pen pals, like back and forth, which offers no harm to either side. Although Jossia would likely have some kind of, like, collection of mail area.
mm-hmm.
You know that mail is delivered to mailboxes, but not specifically by messengers. It was brought by king's mailmen.
It has to be reviewed, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
There can't be free information.
it is possible that Jossia would try to keep that information hidden, but likely almost all the nobles already knew as much as he knew. And then whatever the rabble learns, as long as they don't riot, I mean, what does Jossia care?
Yeah, right. Of course.
I mean, if anything, that just circles the wagons. That the outside world broke fate. I mean, they're worthless garbage. So you
Mythia is so useful.
you have to trust King Josiah
Yeah.
to take care of you.
Good old King Josiah.
Yeah, so that's probably going well.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So it just so happens that at this moment, Surfer Dude Dom is coming back into near the Adamantine Fortress. So he has like white chest hair and like a bit of tan on his skin. And he has on this wide brimmed straw hat and like some water boots. And he's like coming back very casually towards the Adamantine Fortress, and he like waves from far off towards you all to gain your attention.
Yuffie acknowledges him back.
He's going to sort of like run at a clop over to you guys quickly and say, "Oh, Captain, saw your ship coming in. I'm glad the Outrunner is decent. Although, looked like there was a bit of a dent on one side there."
Yes. She waits a beat and looks at him and says, "It was done by a very large tuna whale."
What?
She nods at him as if to say, "We'll discuss this later." "We have some things to tell you."
It honestly looks like you just struck Dom with a lightning bolt. You see that it takes a great measure of discipline for Dom to not immediately jump and like ravage you with questions about the topic. "We'll discuss it later," he says, meaningfully. He says, "Have you all heard the news about the Queen's announcement?"
"We have."
Jennifer's going to like, "We have." Zarafan says, "She probably called us back here so that she'd be able to speak to us in person about what she said."
"Well, shall we hear what she has to say?"
"Sure," Hero says. He's going to like start leading the party in that direction.
Yuffie follows him.
All right. You guys, as you all head to the door of the Adamantine Fortress, we will go ahead and call the session there for the time being. And remember, noble heroes, do try this at home. Please give us a like and a subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time.